In the first lesson of this module, I demonstrated how to annotate a short story for understanding. This lesson will focus on identifying specific elements that authors incorporate into all short stories. The first step to understanding a short story is to break apart its elements. There are 5 different elements that all short stories include: plot, character, setting, conflict, and theme. Identifying these elements and understanding how they work together will allow you, as a reader, to better understand the story. In its simplest form, the setting is where the action takes place. This can include a specific geographic location, a broader geographic location, or a specific time period. Identifying the setting is important because setting can help determine and impact a plot. For example, in a particular setting, the characters might only be able to do things appropriate for that time and place. A character in a 19th century short story would not be able to text the woman he is courting, but instead would have to contact her a different way. Setting can also help to define the values and morals of characters. Again, in a 19th century short love story, it would not be believable if the male character married a woman without first asking her father. Finally, the setting can affect the tone of a story, which we will look at more in depth later. Conflict is another important part of the short story. Every story has a conflict, and many have multiple. We are going to focus on 4 types of conflict: man versus self, man versus nature, man versus man, and man versus society. Conflict is what is going to keep the reader interested. Hopefully you have heard of these types of conflict. If you need a refresher of what each of these types are, refer to the Literary Elements PDF in your toolbox and at the end of this module. Once you understand the setting and conflict, it is time to dig a bit deeper into the story to identify plot points. The plot is what drives the story from one action to the next, and again, keeps the reader interested. Elements of plot include exposition, which includes setting, characters, and conflict, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the resolution. The rising action is everything that helps build suspense as the conflict grows. When we think about rising action, we never look for just one incident. There will almost always be many different incidents that can be referred to as rising action. For our purposes, I'm going to require that when identifying rising action that you identify at least 3 different plot points that build suspense. The climax is the high point of the suspense or the turning point of the story. In any action movie, this is the big final fight scene that leads to the outcome. The events that happen after the climax and lead to the resolution are considered the falling action. Similar to the rising action, the falling action always includes more than just one plot point. However, oftentimes you will be able to find more plot points in the rising action than you will be able to find in the falling action. The last plot element is the resolution, or the final outcome of the story. Think of all those chick flicks that have a together forever happy ending. That together forever is the resolution. Take a look at this plot diagram of the movie The Lion King. You will notice that this diagram includes all of the elements that we have discussed. Now, pause this video and read through the diagram, beginning with the exposition in the bottom left corner and following the diagram up through the rising action to the climax, down through the falling action, and to the resolution. Once you have an understanding of the elements of a short story, continue on to the next task within this lesson.